Hello humans, it's just Martine and welcome to the start of the 24 and 48 round of Squash That series. This is bound to be one of my favorite rounds of Squash That series to date because I love doing a 24 and 48 hour readathon, and now I'm doing it with a bunch of my friends, so super fun. I'm probably not going to update you much while I do it, but I'm going to talk through some of my main plans. My big reading goal is to finish Jade Legacy. I have like 7-ish hours left of it. I'm at 38% of that now, and oddly enough, I did read the first book during a 24 and 48, so it kind of makes sense. I also have 4 Magic Treehouse books for when I'm feeling like slumpy in the middle of Jade Legacy. I have plenty of audiobooks and things to choose from, but my first start for tonight is going to be Jade Legacy. It starts at 7 p.m. my time zone, which is a little later than I like to start my 24 and 48s, but it's going to be fine. My goal is to hit 3 hours before I go to sleep tonight. I'll tell you whenever that happens, or if that happens, I'll just catch you before I fall asleep. I've been waiting literally all week for this. I'm so excited. Only like 2 minutes to go. Hello, it's just past 10 p.m. I reached my 3rd hour, so I submitted the update on the form and now I'm going to bed. It's going well so far though.
All-time high, anxiety is showing underneath my eyes. Watching as I let you take up all my time, just to do it over again. Drag me through the dirt, degrade me, mess things up, then always blame me. Smile politely while you tear me down. I don't wanna be a yes man, bored of bluffing, wanna show my whole hand. Sick of saying sorry cause I can't stand to lose myself to your ego, but I can never say no.
It's 3 p.m. and I just hit 12 hours of reading. I do have a book to talk to you about later, but I can't now because there's a lot of noise outside because there's a football game tonight. So I just wanted you to know, 12 hours down, halfway there. 18 hours down, time for bed. Good morning and happy Sunday. It's just past 8 a.m. and I have already done a little bit of reading today, but I finally got a chance where it's like quiet out, where I can come and talk to you about some of the books that I've been reading and finishing. I had made a list before this and I just remembered that I almost didn't include Jade Legacy, which was my big win of yesterday. Anyway, we're going to start with the first thing I finished to the most recent. So starting with Terms and Conditions, this is the second book in the Dreamland Billionaires series, and I really only read it because my library does have the second one. It doesn't have the following ones in the series, and I had read the first one during another 24 and 48, I'm pretty sure. So I decided to listen to this as one of my audiobooks because they're like pretty long audiobooks. This one was like 13 hours. So I knew that I could rely on it for a lot of this, and I ended up giving it 3 stars. The general like setup was pretty interesting to me. I think I like the setup of this series. I think it's fun and funny and just a little weird because in this series we're following all these different brothers, and to get their inheritance, their grandpa is making them do like various things. So the one that we're following in this particular story has to get married and have a child, which is such a weird stipulation of your will to like to have somebody get their inheritance only if they have a child. Like, I don't know, it's weird. And so he and his assistant end up getting into a marriage. Like, it's a real marriage, but it's a fake marriage, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a marriage of convenience. That's the trope I was looking for. And it's a very grumpy sunshine situation. I think one of the things that really ruined it for me at the end is that in the 3rd act breakup, the guy said things that I found to be like unforgivable. Like, I could not root for them after that. So there's that, but overall it was like an easy read, so 3 stars. Then I finished Losing the Field, which is the last book in a series that I read years and years ago, like before I even used Goodreads. I know because I went to like look it up on Goodreads and I looked at the past ones and I didn't have a rating on it. in this series in general, we're following the same like small town, football is a big deal, and we're following different characters in it. It's a YA romance series. And in this one in particular, we're following a guy. He used to be a football star, but then he got injured and he'll never be able to play football again. And then a girl, she used to be plus sized, and then like she got really mad at some of the comments made about her. And so it's like a revenge body type situation. And I just want to put like a major content warning for that, because I don't think how they handled that situation was like, I was going to say the best, but I'm not even sure it was good. I'm giving this book 2 stars. There was like that situation, and I didn't read the synopsis before I started reading it. I just knew it was part of the series and that I had liked them when I was younger, so I started reading it. And then immediately during the setup, I was like, ugh. And then like it only got worse from there in some ways, because there was like that trope, and then I feel like the author just threw in so many things. Like it was the plot of 5 different books in one book. And I told some people in a group chat that like, I don't know if the rest of the series was this crazy. Please look up content warnings if you're for some reason interested in this book still after I review it, because like just so much messed up stuff happened. I also don't feel like I could root for this couple by the end of the book, and the resolution I felt like wasn't even a real resolution, because it literally got resolved in the last like 3 minutes of the audiobook. So by 5 minutes left of the audiobook, she was yelling at him to get out, and then by the very end she was like, we'd gone through hard things together, but we'd found our perfect match. And I was like, no. So this was just all types of messed up. I don't recommend it. Don't read it. But I did read it, unfortunately. It's still getting a 2 stars instead of a 1, because there were like moments of it that were fun, and the atmosphere of the series I like in general, but just no. How about no? The urge to spoil something that made me so mad in this. Anyway, whatever. Then I finished Jade Legacy. Yay. I'm giving it 4.5 stars, making it my best rated book in this series, which is funny because I've like read the second half of the series kind of along with Bailey. We were supposed to buddy read this book, but it's been like a whole month since she read it, and this is the lowest she's rated one of the books. But this one actually made me tear up at one point, so it got the 0.5. I don't know what to tell you. In this series, it's like a really political fantasy series. We're following this family. They're in charge of one of the clans, and they have powers where they can use jade to do like crazy fighty things. Yeah, and this one took place over like a really long period of time. It was kind of choppy compared to the rest, I would say, but also I felt like it had some plot lines that I really liked. It had lots of Andon, and he's my favorite character in the series. And then I really liked seeing like Rue and Nico and Jaya grow up. So yeah, it was crazy to think by the end though, like when I started the series, Andon was like younger than me, and then by the end of the series, he was in his 40s, but I was still thinking of him as like a baby, which was funny. Those are the books I finished, and now I really have to get back to reading because I'm over 20 hours, so 4 more hours to go. Let's do this. Totally forgot that I also read Night of the New Magicians by Mary Pope Osborne. I'm giving it 4 stars. I like the World Fair. It was a fun setting. And Jack was like nerding out about meeting famous inventors, especially Thomas Edison. And that was so cute. Okay, back to reading now. I honestly think the last 3 hours are the hardest because you know you're so close, but like you're not there yet. And especially the last hour of a 24 and 48 is brutal. But just before noon, I hit my 24 hours. And although somebody else, I think, finished reading that much before me, I submitted first. I was like watching that person in the chat hadn't submitted yet, but I like knew she was about to hit it. So I was sitting there with the form open, just waiting for like the second I hit 24 hours, and then I was gonna submit it, and we submitted a form within 40 seconds of each other, so that was hilarious. I did finish another book this morning, and that read was honestly the roughest part of the morning because I was like, I really want to finish this book during this, and I still had over an hour of it left, but I like wasn't in the mood for it. But I was like, you have to read it now. Like you don't have enough time to switch to another book and then switch back. So I finished reading Amari and the Great Game, which I'm giving 3.5 stars. Probably didn't help that I wasn't in the mood for it, but overall this is like a really fun middle grade series. I think kids probably love this series a lot. In this series we follow Amari, and she joins the Bureau of Supernatural Investigations, and then it turns out that she was born a magician, which is really rare, and actually very dangerous because in this world of supernatural beings, magicians are like looked down upon because there was once this set of brothers that like terrorized everybody and they were magicians. So the first book is about like dealing with that, and then the second book is dealing with some other things related to the fallout of the first book. Some exciting things did happen in this one that like we'd been waiting for. That was nice. And it was nice to finish another book. So all the reading I'm going to do during the 24 hours, I did manage to read 2,290 pages according to Bookly, which is where I was tracking everything. Technically 24.1 hours because there's this really annoying feature on the Bookly readathon thing where like you cannot hit exactly the thing that you said is your goal, you have to hit above it for it to register the check mark. So I hit 24 hours and that's when I submitted my form, but I didn't have the check mark on it. It just said 24 hours. So I had to read for 6 more minutes to get the 24.1 and bring it up and get the check mark, but I got the check mark, so we're good. I had so much fun with this. I am exhausted now and I'm just gonna watch TV and YouTube for the rest of the day and chill out. That's why it's nice to finish 7 hours before the end of the event so that I can have literally the second half of today to do whatever I want. And that's because yesterday was a rough one. I had a great time from start to finish yesterday. Like if I had been having a bad time, I would have stopped or taken a break. But usually when I do a 24 and 48, no, always when I do a 24 and 48, that second main day, the one where I literally have all that day to work on it, is like my boss mode day. And indeed it was yesterday because I read over 1,000 pages yesterday and read for over 15 hours. I feel like some days I'm barely even awake for 15 hours, you know, so I was pleased with that. But yeah, I had a great time. Thanks to Bailey and Kayla again for creating and hosting Squash That series. It's so fun every time. I honestly think it's like my favorite thing. I don't know why, but I just go feral for Squash That series. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below. Have you ever done a 24 and 48 or something like this? Did you participate in this round of Squash That series? Did you also have the time of your life just like I did? And subscribe for more reading, writing, and college lifestyle content. And until next time, bye humans, bye!